What's up, everybody? I hope you all have a great weekend so far. I surely have, and today I'm going to start the day off in force by playing World of Tanks. Now, compared to other, I'm gonna call them adventures that I have in World of Tanks today, I'm going to do something special, and I'm only going to play premium tanks. So only the premium tanks I have in the garage. So we're gonna go to the filter, and these are all my premium tanks. Now we're gonna start with the charioteer nomad, and I'm gonna do that for a very simple reason, because I like this tank, and because, like it or not, right now I am in the middle of a grind to get the beautiful badger, or let's see how it's called, the FV2170 or 217 217, the badger. Now coming back to the garage, as I said, I'm gonna start with the charioteer nomad, and let's go to battle. Now, compared to other live streams I made, I'm going to do a live battle analysis in which I will explain why I'm doing what I'm doing, one, and second of all, why things didn't work out. So as you can see, we are in Ensk, and we start from the southern part of the map, and basically we are at tier 9, so it's going to be a rather difficult match. First things first, I'm gonna go to the open side of the map, to our right or east side, and then we're gonna camp a little bit at the back, because again we are tier 8 tank destroyer and we are somewhat of a glass cannon, so the best thing we need and we have to do is keep our nose clean and as far away and as hidden away from enemy guns as we can possibly be. Now, is it the best option? Who knows? We'll see. As you can see, we have an ELC 1190 up in front, and unfortunately, as you can see, most of our team choose to go into the city, which is not necessarily bad, but it's gonna create a bit of a problem for us shortly, because if there are more tanks from the enemy team pushing this side, then we're gonna have a bit of a issue on our hands. Now for the time being, we only have the ELC 11 in front of us, but as you can see, we are starting to get a lot of company here. Now we're gonna go a little bit up front, although I said I didn't want to do it, but we're gonna have to try and somehow get closer to the enemy's tanks without being shot at ourselves. So this is going to be a rather tall order for us. And again, on this particular map, the terrain doesn't help us one bit. We are really down, and if I were to go a little bit up, I'm going to expose myself a lot, and as you can see, I'm already spotted, so we're just gonna have to try and find some divot in the ground where we can actually hide, basically, because we don't really have other choices right now. Gonna keep a close eye on the map. Let's see if we can take a shot at anything without being shot out. Oh, and yep, the CS-59 hit us and did quite a little bit of damage to us, but we did some damage to him in return, and we managed to make him miss his shot, which is good. Now let's re-aim and be perfectly ready to strike again, and we did. and for a pretty good damage roll. So let's just go. And oh my god. And we hit basically. Now, again, looking at the map, we have this whole side of the map apparently cleared of enemies, but we still have the CS-59 posing a problem, and we are done. Now, let's enlarge the map. First of all, when we try and choose a strategy for our battle, we need to look at the map, look at the team compositions, and decide what we can and we can't do. As you can see, we are at tier 8, we have a glass cannon tank destroyer, and we don't really have that much open terrain ahead of us. Now, the city is going to be a really bad choice for us because of the lack of armor. We have a decent gun, but the armor does not help. On the other hand, we have all of this open space, which can give us some opportunity to hit something like we did earlier, but we are exposed. So when we are exposed, we always try to limit the exposure we have. Now, let's check out the results. And we are 30,000 credits up, and we are close to the bottom of the pile. Now, coming back to what I was saying, the first thing you should do before even entering battle is knowing your tank's characteristics. And that can be easily done by accessing these details, or if you have the time, I recommend going on tanks.gg and analyze the armor of your tanks. Why is that? Because let's take the let's close the filter for a second. Let's take the Super Conqueror. Now, whoever played the Super Conqueror knows it has a very powerful turret, but it has this protruding rangefinder, which is actually a really big weak spot. Now, how do you mitigate that? Well, first of all, you keep your turret moving at all times. Second of all, one important aspect on the British uh, late tier tanks like the Super Conqueror and especially the Centurion Action 10 is that you have a great big ammo box right about here. So whatever you do in a battle with these tanks, you need to present to the enemy from this line upwards. So basically only the turret. Even if you have the weak spot on the top of the turret, you would rather be hit there than over here. You have a real when there's a real danger and possibility that you can get ammo wrecked and be sent to the garage sooner than you should have. Now, that being said, the first bit is relatively simple. So you have this analysis made. No problems there. Then you have to know, apart from the armor layout and the strong points, you need to know how the gun behaves. As you can see, my Centurion Action 10 crew is not fully trained, which is not exactly the end of the world, but is gonna have us limited in some regards. So we have a 0.06 second delay in reload time because of the gunner is not trained to 100%. We have a gun loading yeah, the gun loading, sorry, is 0.04% less than it should have been. We have the dispersion, which is actually a little bit higher by 0.01 um, at 100 meters, but that doesn't really matter. What does it matter actually is survivability and mobility. Why did I say survivability? Because of this thing, the ammo rack durability. This is extremely important in tanks like this one. When you have a really sensitive ammo compartment, you need to be really protective of it. Now, That is one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is mobility. Why is it important? Well, on this particular tank, we have a 55 kilometers an hour top speed. This is important because that helps us judge how fast can we move on the battlefield, and thus what position we can occupy at the beginning of the battle, so we can do as much damage as we can without putting ourselves at risk too much. Now, again, you know your tanks, but there's one more thing. You need to know the ammo. For instance, my Action 10 shots APDS, which is basically APCR, which gives us some advantages. One of them is the shell velocity, which means when you lead the target, let's say you are shooting at, I don't know, something in the, imagine I'm pointing the turret at the Bisonte over there and it's moving. The lead is going to be a lot less with this tank than, let's say, the M4 Sherman 105 gun. Now, back to our tanks. I'm gonna take the Emil 1951 and I'm going to explain this live. So we've talked about the basics. Tank, tank designs, strong points, weak points, and so on and so forth. But when judging the weak points or strong points of a tank, another important aspect is the gun depression. Why is it important? Because it helps you to get into what is called the hold down position, which means basically showing your turret, just like I said earlier, by cresting hills. So I'm gonna explain that in a bit. But first I'm gonna explain you what I'm gonna try to do. My objective initially is to get around that hill. And I'm gonna explain to you when I get there why. Now, we are at tier 8. We are in a tier 8 battle. We are almost on top of the rooster, so that means we are a very important tank for our team. Being a very important tank for our team, that means we need to survive for as long as possible, which, to be honest with you, is a basic rule of World of Tanks, sorry. If you want to be a good player, you need to survive as much as you can. You need to keep the gun in play as much as you can and do as much damage as you can. Now, as you can see, we have a little bit faster vehicles in front of us. This Emil 1951 is kind of disappointing when it comes to maneuverability, or mobility I should say, but we're gonna have to do with it. Now, back to our lesson. We're almost at the point where we wanted to be. As you can see, we have the T-34-100 getting right up in front, and the Kunzepanzer 07 again being up in front. Now, why did I tell you it is important to have the gun depression? You see, I'm only showing the top of my turret, which means I can do things like that, and we missed. Again, one important aspect about this tank in particular is that it's an autoloader, but it has a few disadvantages. It has a very low and boom, we missed. Now let's recover our crew from the shock. And what I was trying to say is you have a very, very long reload for a 3-round magazine. It's almost 28 seconds for me. And keep in mind, I'm using vents and have a few perks on the tank itself. Now, let's see if we can, and we are tracked. We can't really do much. So the C-52 list just put us in a tough situation, but as you can see, I'm in a bad position because the artillery is raining down on me, which means I need to get into a position in which I am a little bit more covered from artillery fire. Again, and this is something I missed telling you at the beginning of the battle, we have artillery in play, and artillery is a really dangerous weapon to have fighting against you. And as you can see, we're gonna try and unload into the TNHS. Let's see, can we do it? And we're gonna go with our big repair kit to try as much as we can to withdraw. Now, given the fact that we established we have artillery in play at the beginning of the battle, that means we need to stick to the rocks as much as we can because it gives us natural cover from artillery. And as you can see, we have a very active artillery um, players in the enemy team. Let's see if we can score a few shots. And exactly what I was talking to you about earlier when it comes to leading the shots. So let's go and see if we can have a surprise. Now, I'm gonna reload. And I'm gonna reload because I only had one bullet or one round in the chamber, and my reload is extremely long. So there's no point in me even trying to survive too much with only one round and basically expose myself to enemy fire with only one round in the chamber. Let's see if we can do something to this Borosk. Can we hit him? Do we have a shot? And we should. And we missed. Again, one really annoying feature of this particular tank is it has a very, very long reload for the clip. Now, the reload between shots is extremely good, under 3 seconds, but the reload between the clips is extremely long. And that will pose a problem for us because we don't really have the maneuverability given this is a really big open map, but a big hilly open map. And again, you're gonna see the dispersion of the tank is really, really bad when moving. So we need to take into account all of these things because the moment we start opening up, we are gonna have a lot of problems, and he's out. He's gonna be out. What did I told you? And we managed to end this one with 2 kills and almost 2000 damage done, which is pretty good, actually reasonable to be honest with you. Now, because let's see what we did. Let's go back to the garage and okay. We actually have a 70 per thousand credits profit. Granted, I'm using the premium account I won by opening the emerald boxes. And let's go with the team score. So we are basically 5th in the standings. Congratulations to the UDES um, player. Now back to, sorry, let's go to the field modifications and we're gonna increase our level. And we can actually choose equipment with before battle. And we're gonna tick that off because I only have one set of equipment for this one. Now going back to the tank itself. Now this is one way of approaching things. I'm interested in creating a series for in which I'm explaining basically why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do, or at least what I'm trying to get to do, to be honest. Now, this was a pretty decent match for us, and I'm quite happy with the way it turned out. But Usually, when it comes to this particular vehicle, it is a really specialized tool. You need to take advantage of the terrain as much as you can because this is a really weak vehicle when it comes to armor. It has close to basically none on the hull, and the turret, these cheeks, are reasonably easy to penetrate. Granted, it depends on the gun you're shooting at, but you have a reasonable chance of penetrating these tanks side side turret or turret side. Sorry. Now back to our game. As I said earlier, we have great depression, we have poor gun handling, which means we're gonna need to get up close to the enemy tanks, and the best way we can do that is to go hill. Now we have a slight problem because, as you can see, basically nobody is guarding this corridor, which is going to be a really big problem for us because guess what? We might get the surprise of our lifetime finding out that most of the enemy team is concentrating on this side, and oh, we already have an IS-5 spotted over there, which is not great news for us. But one good thing is we don't have artillery in this match. Just noticed. And of course, being me, I forgot to mention it at the beginning of this show. Now, let's see what we can see on top of the hill. Well, up until this point, not much, but be sure when I get to the top, the whole enemy team will appear just in front of us because that's my luck. And we managed to score a hit on the SVG and the Bisonte. I'm gonna tell our little teammate to withdraw, but he can't because of course he got tracked. Somebody knew how to play that, and I'm gonna let this guy expose himself a little bit more. He should really try to go back. Not a good position for you to be in. I'm not gonna be able to cover you that much, so that's one thing. And again, look, the right flank actually almost basically collapsed around our teammates, so we are going to start unloading, and the moment we are unloaded, we are going to, oh, hello, let's go back. There's no point in us hanging around here anymore, and we are already, sorry, have 21 seconds of reload time left, which is not exactly the best thing. And as you can see, we were hitting the hull. Just like I said earlier, we have a really weak hull, and yep, we're done. That's basically it. Done. This would be a very powerful tank with a few caveats. If you'd have the interclip reload at around, let's say, 20-22 seconds, it would be decent. If you would have less dispersion, especially when the gun is moving, it would be a better vehicle. If you'd have a little bit more accuracy, it would have been a very good vehicle. But coming back to the analysis, as you can see, most of the enemy team pushed the hilltop. Fortunately, none of them pushed the heavy tank corridor, but they had a lot of tanks that were actually working together. For those of you World of Tanks player who looks at his stats and thinks, oh, my stats are all that counts. Well, nobody. It doesn't. You're in a team. You are a team player or you are a dead player. A lot of guys you'll see going to some end of the map alone and then cried about the fact that they were left out by the team. Well, if you noticed that if that happening, that you are going on one flank alone or almost alone, try to talk to your teammates and request assistance, or just go back, especially at the beginning of the battle. Is no harm, no foul. Okay, you're not gonna get to the position you wanted it to, but at the end of the day, your tank is intact. Your gun is still in play, and I'm gonna keep on blubbering about this for as long as it's gonna take, because it is actually important to keep the gun in play for as long as possible. If you don't believe me, look at how the top World of Tanks player perform and how they act in a battle. They don't go on like full on rush mode. They occupy a position, do some damage at the beginning of the match, try to keep as much of the enemy team somewhat at arm's length so they can do the damage, but they rely a lot on their teammates as much as possible. You don't go out, YOLOing across the battlefield like is the damn Battle of Agincourt and expect that everything is going to be alright. No, you need to do an analysis, of the battle. So, let's do it. We're at the beginning of the battle. We look up here. We see that we don't have artillery, which is very important because this is a great big open map. If we would have had artillery here, that would have complicated our workload a lot for us. Now, back to the map. We have an encounter. Encounter? Yeah. And the enemy team is right here, spawn, and the base is at the end of the map. Usually, the first thing I would try is to occupy this position or some position on the hill so I can do some damage to the enemy team. But right now, I think for me, it's really important to get as close to the base as possible because that is the focal point of this whole battle. And again, I'm keeping my capacities in mind. I'm thinking, okay, I need to do to keep my tank covered for as much as possible. I need to keep my gun um, firing for as much as possible. So I need to use terrain, as you saw. I'm not using that side of the map, which is kind of open. Keep in mind the enemies are still over here somewhere. Again, look, the lynx is there. He could have spotted me. Granted, we don't have artillery, as I said in this battle, but that doesn't change the fact that if I would have got spotted, well, that would have been curtains for me. Because I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of tank destroyers back there, ready, willing, and hoping for me to make a mistake. Again, as you can see, I'm moving without hitting any trees. I'm moving without basically leaving much trace of my existence here. And one important aspect, I'm keeping my distance towards the bush in front of me. And this is really important because if I were to fire right now, I could say I'm firing from a covered position, which is really important for us. We need to keep our distance. We need to not get spotted, at least for the time being. And we'll see that the enemy team will start proceeding towards us. Now, they have, and this is our first victim. You saw that? The light bulb didn't light, which means we are not spotted. We actually did 439 damage without being spotted. Now, one important aspect, as you can see, the base is beginning to be captured, but only by a single enemy tank. And we have an AT-15. This guy is going to be a challenge for us because of its frontal armor. Now, I've researched the AT-15, but to my eternal shame, I did not took the time to analyze its armor profile, which means I can't, and I missed. Now I'm spotted. Good. So the enemy scout, it's a really good compared to ours, which I don't know why he's sitting back there. I don't know what he's trying to obtain by doing that. But anyways, let's I'm gonna have to risk it a little bit and reset the cap because we are in danger of And yep, we have a viper and a charioteer on top, and he's gonna wipe us out. And we managed to plant one into him. Let's see if we can hit this 80-15, and nope, the nomad got us. As you can see, I've made a lot of mistakes, but what were the mistakes? I got carried away, tried to be the hero, tried to reset the cap, but I got distracted. Okay? Because we didn't have any good spotters. We didn't know what we have in the back. I didn't know about the charioteer initially, and I still didn't saw where the viper was. So we have an enemy tank destroyer fully and totally um undiscovered. Okay? As you can see, our team is starting to catch up. They did what their thing with the heavy tanks around the spawns, but now it's going to be difficult because we have an AT-15, which is half health, a T-77, which is two-thirds health, a forest spirit, which is almost full health, and a nomad again, which is full health. And this guy, what did I told you about YOLOing? He YOLO'd straight into the base with one, two, three, 4, 5 enemy guns pointed straight at him. That is suicide. You don't do that. You don't do what I did either. Okay? Now, back to the garage because this one is pretty much lost. Yeah, 7 to 15. Again, using the nomad is not precisely my favorite thing in the world, and uh, having the tanks I have, I'm kind of forced to adapt because, for instance, I don't like at all how the Emil plays. I don't like at all the way the charioteer plays, but I need to basically adapt to their playstyle. That being said, let's take the charioteer out for another run and see what will happen. Okay, so we are back at Prokhorovka. We have a standard battle this time. And again, fortunately for us, we don't have any artillery in play, which means we can start farming some damages. Now, the first thing I'm going to be interested in seeing at the very beginning of the battle is how many players choose to go to the right, to the eastern side. That is important because this position right here on top is a very good position to pump out shots at the guys lower down who are trying basically to do their thing. Um, what? Why do I need to fall back? Anyways, we're gonna need to get right about this point, and hopefully, the object 252K, the Tiger Mouse, and all the other big guys will be able to spot for us some tanks that are in a prime position to be hit. And this again is really good. It's a really good position because of the fact that they're pointing the turret at the friendly tanks that are in front of them, but the side turrets, it's facing towards us, which again, it's kind of a big deal and is really important. Now, as you can see, we don't really have that much, but we have a G-saw and quite a lot of mediums going up the hill, which is going to make our job a little bit easier because, as you can see, oh, no, we don't have a clear shot at this time, but everybody should begin right about now to advance and move towards the enemy positions, because right now we have a lot of tanks. We can actually push this side, but they're kind of reluctant to do it because guess what? We don't know what is in front of us. It's easy as that. And we have a 703 that version 2 or something. Let's see. So these guys should really get a move on because there are three heavy tanks against a heavy tank and a medium. And this is important because you need to know how and when to rush. Now we rush, as you can see. We're going all in on them, not giving them an inch, not letting them breathe, and I managed to bounce off the side of the 705. Oh, we actually did some damage on this one. Very good play for us. Let's see if we can take him. No, we didn't. There's no problem. We still got a lot of hit points to get. We had, and we managed to take out the 703 too. Now, back to what I was saying. As you can see right now, we have a 60 TP that is shooting at us, or at least trying to hit us, and an UDES who is somewhere on our left. Now, we managed to push the hill, and we have the advantage of being okay. We have the advantage of being on this side, which is kind of hilly, and we can actually try and get into some hold down position. Now, let's see if we can have let's see if we can. Jesus, guy, go back. And we can't really climb up this hill, and our tracks is damaged, and we're gonna have to adapt basically. Unfortunately, we still have a lot of a lot of enemy tanks in play right now, so let's see if we can somehow draw them out. We have a turtle. Let's see. We have the turtle back there, which is stuck, and he actually took a hit. Let's see if we can. And yep, let's go back. There's no point in me trying to keep that position because the turtle is now pointing straight at me, which means. And let's go. Whilst he's moving, he's got a lot of advantages over me. Let's see, where is he? I'm spotted, but I'm gonna try and wait out. Nope, he missed. He actually missed, which is always a good thing. But now I almost, I really need to keep my tank covered, and I'm already starting to think outside the box a little bit because we already have a Carnarvon over there who is going to want to have a word with us. Pretty sure of that. Let's see if we can spot the turtle again. And there he goes. He's back here. And he turned away. Let's see if we can catch him off guard. No, he. Oh, for fuck's sake. Again, we are in a tier 10 match, so that was that. We basically did our best, to be honest with you. Could we done better? Yes, we could. Could we have done worse? Again, yes, you could have done with our worse. Now, as an aside, because I really want you to know why I'm trying to play, or I am playing only premiums, is this guy, DD15. This is one important reason for me playing only top tier, well, tier 8 premium, is to raise the money I need for this thing, and apparently I need 330. Well, I think I'm gonna need a little more actually, somewhere in the neighborhood of 500,000 at the end of the day because we're gonna need some vents and so on. But that's a different story. Now, let's pick up our Emil and let's go with the elite. Sorry. Yeah, let's go. See what's what and how things are moving. Now, We are in Serene Coast. It is a tier 8 match, and as difference, as a difference actually, to the previous two matches, we actually have artillery in this one. So it's going to make our job a slightly bit more difficult. Now, usually I would choose to go on the peninsula and then close to the enemy base, but this time I'm going to use the more mountainy side of the map because it's more advantageous for my Emil to basically go out and be falling down, basically staying in a hold down position. Now let's see how we actually manage to do on this one because it's going to be a difficult one to play. Okay, so as you can see, we have another 3 tanks coming in from the back, bringing up the rear. We have the STG to our left that is going down the valley, and he's already been hit, or at least we have an artillery hit around here, so somebody is spotting, which kind of not necessarily unexpected, but is bad. But let's see if we can do something for him. No, we can't. And I'm not gonna stick around that much on this side because we are going to have some visitors coming in from this side, from our right, and we're gonna have to try and do our best to keep them at arm's length. And the Object 703 just got a taste of the ML's gun. And what did I tell you about artillery? And we are now fixed, but our crew is still in shock, which is gonna make a situation a tad more difficult. And I've been hit by the artillery again. And now let's just track him at least. And let's see. I'm going to basically hold up back here because I really in a tough position because I'm still reloading. I managed to trick the Bisonte into firing me, and the artillery is basically relentless, and we are surrounded right now. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna manage to reload the clip. Yeah, what did I told you? How things should have been done here. Well, first of all, we would have need more tanks to hold the valley, and at least another one on the hill so it can support me whilst I'm reloading. As I said, this is a very situational tank. You have 3 rounds that you can shoot in a very quick succession and not much else. And keep in mind, we are playing at tier 8. Most heavies have around 1500 hit points. And that is right about um, 300 hit points less than we would have need to basically take them out with one clip. So you take a full health, let's say IS3, and bring it to 0 in one clip. We cannot do that, which again, it is a problem for us. Now let's see how we're sitting, and we actually won, and we have a 49,000, oh, a 33 sorry, thousand profit. Now let's look at our team score. So as you can see, we are in top 6 again. We managed to, I'm sorry, top 5, sorry. And let's go with the personal score. We actually see we hit the 800, the 703 too, doing it 811 damage. We did a 444 damage to the turtle, and we actually got an assistance in destroying the Patton tank. Now, I'm kind of sick of them because they're not exactly my playstyle. Basically, these ones I picked up for Clan Wars, and the IS-7 is the first one I got, and the Panzer E-100 was just like, okay, I wanted that as well. So I don't really have a lot of tanks that I like to play in my garage right now, but we're working towards it. We have the SMV CC67, which I think we still have quite a bit of work to do until we get to the CC1 Mark II, and then to the Minotauro, which is a beast of a tank destroyer. Again, we went for the Badger, decent actually tank destroyer, and we have a, let's see the details. We actually, well, we made 24,000 credits, which is always good to see. And we only managed to do 312 damage, and I think it was to the 703. Yeah, which is bad actually, really bad. We cannot uh, keep on doing this, to be honest with you. And this is really bad. Oh, and we are the top of the rooster here. Okay, coming back to what I was saying, the first thing that stands out, we have two artilleries in play, and as you saw earlier, we're gonna be in a world of pain if we let them have our way with us. Now, usually I would have gone and preferred the hill here and tries basically to be pulled down and do as much damage as I can, but right now I'm thinking of going on the side, although going on the side is going to put me in a dangerous position because I'm going to be at the mercy of the tank destroyer sitting up the hill. So I'm gonna take my chances and go around here so I can be covered from artillery and find myself a nice beautiful hold down position where I can just pound the enemy into submission, and again have some place where I can fall back whilst I am reloading. Now, notice that I'm not moving too much in front. That is because we have this open space and we have enemy tanks on the other side of the water. We have the LT 42432 actually. Let's see if we can he's gone. And again, it is a really bad tank. And as you can see, the Vapora is getting shredded right over there. Oh, he was. Right now, he's been destroyed. And right now, let's see if we can put ourselves in a better position up here. Because, and I'm spotted basically by the LT, who is going to try and find a shot into me. And right now, let's see if we can actually shoot at something. Oh, we have a T-28 prototype bringing up this side, and of course you're gonna pass by me. The Chrysler shot and didn't do a lot of damage, basically bounced, and we don't really, oh, and he hit again, and let's see what he hit us. So he's firing APC, he's firing premium shells. Now I'm gonna already pre-select the premium rounds, and he actually, well, he's doing the best he can. Okay, so I'm basically being shot here from 4 different directions, and I can't really do much. Oh, we actually did some damage to the T-28. We missed that one, which is great. And now let's just wait for the reload, and yep, we are already stunned and we are done. This map, you lose the hill, you're done. And to be honest with you, I would like to I would politely ask World of Tanks and Wargaming to stop doing this bullshit. bullshit. Okay? Stop doing it. Because what you are doing is wrong. Why do I say this? Well, we had the emerald boxes, and I got this piece of this piece of work. Not to call it in a different way. Anyways, why? I would have preferred the forest spirit, to be honest with you. I would have preferred to have the viper, you know, in that bundle, or at least let me choose what tank I want, because this tank is bollocks, is useless, is bottom of the pile. I don't know who did the balancing on this particular tank, but he did an absolutely terrible job doing it. This is one of them tanks built by wargaming, so you can use only premium ammunition, premium consumables, and invest as much money as you can in the game. Why? Well, let's just look at the stats. Keep in mind, I have a 4 skill crew, and look, average damage 360, average penetration 212, 217, sorry, at tier 8. When I'm going up against, God only knows, let's say the Badger, for instance, the T110E4, the E3, just to name a few. Anyways, I have a 2.5 seconds waiting time until the gun is fully aimed, and I have a 0.36 dispersion at 100 meters with an average DPM of 1944. Interesting year, I suppose. I got 1400 hit points. I got 100 millimeters of frontal whole armor, 180 millimeters of frontal armor, which basically applies to this particular trapeze up front. Yeah, the cheeks are weaker. And then you hit me. Where is it? Let's go to mobility. You hit me with a 400 horsepower engine. 400 horsepower engine. Let me check one thing. Oh, look. A tier 6 artillery piece has a 500 horsepower engine. And they decided, out of all the engines available for... Oh, hold on a second. Does this profile look familiar? I wonder when I see that. Oh. 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 Kind of similar, don't you think? Anyways, out of all the engines that could have been fitted to this thing, yeah. Anyways, just out of curiosity, let's go with the vehicle details. And a prototype of the heavy tank developed for the Swedish Army under the Emil project. In 1950s, the development was preceded by the scientific research. All required characteristics were calculated using complex formulas. Based on the calculations, draft design was prepared in 1951, but the development was discontinued in favor of later versions. If you ask me, this is nothing more than a bloody Centurion with a facelift and probably a bigger ring, to be honest with you. No, actually. And by the way, these are stow boxes. They're not part of the armor per se. So, well, that was me for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked the information, the presentation, and you had a lot of fun watching me. Now, that being said, I wish you a great weekend. Hopefully, I'll be going live tomorrow again. And subscribe.